Here on the front page of Tableaux François, what the Fillon plan is going to change for you. There's a similar front page over at Le Parisien. They've got the real price of rigour. Both papers are asking just how much these new austerity measures are going to cost their readers. Le Parisien reckons that 86% of all those cuts and tax rises that were made yesterday are actually going to have an impact not on companies but on individuals. They've also got an interesting story in here about the impact this might have on ordinary parliamentarians. Apparently there's one right-wing MP who's calling for the MPs to have a 10% cut in their salaries. Unsurprisingly, though, this hasn't gone down too well with his colleagues on the right and on the left of politics.
There's a surprise. I just have a little sneaky suspicion that perhaps not all the measures have been universally popular.
I think you might be right there. We've got here on the front page of La Croix, François Fillon administers rigour. Inside, though, they've got some quite balanced points of view. Their editorial says, well, we do need an austerity plan. France has a huge amount of debt, but this particular one is too late, it's insufficient, and it's unfair. They talk to a socialist MP on the inside who says this plan deserves a triple I rating, by which he means improvised, insufficient, and unfair, which translates into English is no longer 3 I's, it's 2 I's and a U, but you get the idea anyway. They say that this will impact unfairly on the poorest and those with the lowest revenues, of course. They do, though, quote a right-wing MP on the inside there as well, saying that actually this plan is fair and balanced, France needs it, and it's not for ratings agencies anyway, it's for our grandchildren to hand down a better world to them, apparently.
2 I's and a U doesn't really work, does it? A lot of papers, though, saying it's as much about politics as it is about economics.
Of course, with just 6 months to go to a presidential election, who Sarkozy's really thinking about isn't ratings agencies, it's voters. And that's what's here on the front of Le Figaro. If we have a look at this, Sarkozy, 6 months to win the challenge of rigour. Now, their editorial says that, yes, this is a great austerity plan. France needs to cut back. And it's the beginning of a new philosophical approach to France's public sector, which they say is overweight, bloated and weighing down the rest of the economy. Of course, that's taboo in France, really, where public sector interests are quite deeply entrenched. But Le Figaro reckons that's what we need, and they think voters agree, at least the ones who actually read the paper. If you have a look at the front page, they've done a readers' poll, and they asked people, would you personally be prepared to make a personal sacrifice to help save France's debt? And 53% of readers said yes.
Now, very different, I suspect. Libération, left wing.
Fillon buries Sarkozy. That's their front page today. They say what you should really take away from this politically is the fact that it's a chapter and verse reversal of Sarkozy's flagship policies that he put in place when he came to power. He promised not to raise taxes on anybody. He cut VAT on restaurants. These are the policies that have been directly reversed now. So Libération says it's Sarkozyism that's bankrupt, not the country.
They're also talking about something completely different. Let's move away from austerity. One of the world's most notorious terrorists.
I'm a revolutionary by profession, I'm Venezuelan and Palestinian, and I'm innocent. That's what Carlos the Jackal told a Parisian court yesterday. Of course, he started a retrial for involvement in a series of bomb attacks here in France in the early 80s that killed 11 people altogether. Now, the paper says he's kind of lost the good looks that made him such a hero to some on the left in the 1970s, but he certainly remains defiant. He's as stubborn as ever.
OK,
And
right.
just one question to finish with, Stuart. Have you started your Christmas shopping?
Actually, I have. The reason for this, though, is because I went back to the UK last week, so I took some presents with me for my parents to give some. All complicated.
I'm quite shocked, but you were bound to say no. But you see, you're ahead of the curve, clearly. Yeah. It's that time of year again for retailers. But La Croix reports that austerity measures aren't worrying them too much. They've done a study which says that French people, on average, plan to spend over €600 on presents this year, which is 2% up on last year. They say the 63% of French people say that they haven't yet been affected by the crisis, but they think they will be in 2012, so they're planning one huge blowout before they run out of money.
I certainly haven't spent as much as €600. That is certainly for true. Not yet, anyway. All right, Elena, thanks a lot, Elena, with the French newspapers. Today here on France 24. Headlines then, a vital vote today for Italy's Silvio Berlusconi as he insists